Hey, guess what, you
Wow.
guys?
Yeah. Oh,
We
guess
are
what?
on
What?
Facebook
Oh
Live.
boy,
Oh,
we're on
Yeah.
we are live.
Hey.
Hello,
Remember, we were
Hi
actually
Facebook.
doing this show
everyone.
live. Hello, everybody. Hey, thanks to everyone for joining the show. My name is Charles Swanberg, Caimeiju Realty, and this is Escrow Tuesdays, where what can happen in escrow?
Anything and everything.
Hey, Narhee, how are you?
Good, I'm good. Thank you, Charles. How is everyone else? I think we have a very special guest today.
Yeah, extra special, episode 23
Extra
here.
special.
And we have Ritu Rani. She is the ARIA Commercial Chair for 2021. Welcome to the show, Ritu.
Thank you guys. Thanks, Charles. Thanks, Narhee.
So, Ritu, what is
Yes.
Ritu? We don't need your 30-second elevator speech.
Okay, no elevator.
Can't be in elevators
speeches.
lately, but
No.
now tell us a little bit about Ritu.
Okay, so I grew up in New York City. My parents, they came here before I was born, and then decided to go back to India to have me, and left me there, abandoned me with my grandmother,
Wow.
and then went back to get me when I was 2. And I grew up in Manhattan. Unlike very many Asians at that time, I felt like I really didn't have. There was only one other Asian in my school growing up, and I didn't realize how many of us there were in this country until I went to college. So
Many of us.
Asians, yeah.
Asians. Yeah, I was the only half Asian in my school in Chicago,
Yeah.
so you had me beat. You had a bit more diversity.
Well, I mean, I did grow up in Manhattan, so there was diversity, but when you're younger, you kind of just go to school and see what's in school, and you think that that's really a representation of what the world is like, and you don't
Right.
realize that until you get to college and you're like, oh my God. I mean, I literally thought that 50% of the United States population was Jewish because I went to a private school in New York, and I'm like, oh my God, that's not true. And there are more Asians than I thought. There was like one other Asian in my entire high school. So you know, you live and learn.
Yeah.
That's
So
a little fun fact about me.
yeah. So you were born in India. Your parents
Born in
left you for a
India.
couple of years. You
Yes.
were, I don't know. You learned some, crafts or. So were you with family there, or were you just kind of hanging
my
out?
grandmother. No, they didn't just leave me,
They
Charles,
didn't-
and say, here.
You didn't just drop her.
Right.
Well, there'll be always a first, and that's what Tuesday. Hey, everyone on Facebook Live here. We are here with Ritu Rani on Escrow Tuesdays here with my co-host Narhee Nguyen. And like, comment, and ask all kinds of questions for Ritu because we will not be actually looking. I'm a little too busy. Maybe Narhee can. Here, I like my own page. Something you're not supposed to do on social media. Hey, so Ritu, thanks for sharing with us. So you are here in the United States, and yeah, New York. What a crazy place, huh?
Yeah, in New York, huh?
Yes.
So
I don't
in
hear
New
that.
York,
I don't hear your New York accent, though.
There is no accent.
There is
People who
no
grew up in Manhattan do not have an accent.
Oh, really? Okay, sorry.
Yes.
That
That is the standard way of speaking.
So is New York really, I guess, densely populated with realtors? Is that why you went to into real estate?
Oh no, gosh, I didn't
Oh,
get
no.
into real estate into much later. I knew nothing about it when I lived in New York. So I went to, if you want a little background on that, went to college up in Boston, and then I went into the fashion world. I was an assistant buyer for Bloomingdale's, which is another fun fact that probably very few people know. And then I went into, more corporate jobs. I worked for Time Inc. I worked for Disney. I worked for Kersner, who owns the Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas. So all corporate stuff, and then ended up moving to Florida, and didn't really know what to do here. And I got into real estate because I am a mom, and I figured, oh, I'll just do this part-time. I'll do it a little bit on the side. I'll do this. And here I am, all in, 2 feet.
All in with your own commercial series. That's so awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, And, you know, single parenting or motherhood or whatever you want to call it, maybe it's not single parenting, but I mean, the flexibility that especially residential real estate offers is really, you know, a great way to just be able to juggle and do a lot of stuff. But
Well, Charles, I'd like to tell you, I never did residential real estate. I
right,
jumped
that's what I was
into
getting to. And
into the
because
commercial world.
yeah, and so how did you do that? Because I can't imagine being in a CBRE office and someone go, "Oh, gotta pick my kids up to school," and you're like, "You're in the middle of cold calling. What's going on here?"
Well, I guess when I started because I started buying multifamily, and you know, I have my MBA, and I've always been on the corporate side of everything, so I figured commercial would just be easier for me to do. So I never worked for a CB. I always worked for smaller companies or resi-commercial companies that didn't require you to be in the office, and I could do it on my own time. So that's really how the whole thing
Yeah, well,
started.
how things have changed, I imagine
Yes.
not everybody,
Yes.
even a CB or Colliers or anybody, or is actually going to the office
The
a whole
office
lot
anymore.
these
I
days.
know.
It really has changed everything. All right, so you have you're working in commercial real estate.
Correct.
What
But you know,
company?
you are the commercial chair for ARIA. And you know, that doesn't happen just, you know, like a blink of an eye here. So like,
No.
did you start going to events? Who invited you? And I mean, you know, we all have come to at least the Aria Kool-Aid. I'll have a sip of it here.
Yes, we've all.
Get a little bit of it there. So how did you get involved with Aria?
Okay, so you know, the Miami chapter. So I live in South Florida now.
Okay.
And we hosted the luxury summit down here a few years ago.
I was
And
there, and that was awesome. I was in 2017. What an amazing event.
yes, it was truly amazing. So I guess I was involved a little bit before then, but that's when I really, you know, meeting people from other chapters and meeting other chapter leaders, that's when I really started to get involved. And you know, I had you know, Donnie was one of the people, Donnie Fingaro was one of the people in our
Right.
chapter that were very active. So I guess through that, I met Raj Paul, he was there.
Our Raj, our
Raj, yes,
Northeast
exactly.
regional for last year.
Yes, yes. And I started going to more and more events, and I got invited to leadership. And then I got very involved with the commercial committee. I mean, I owe a lot to Kurt Nishimura and Naveen
Right.
Kavangay. They, you know, welcomed me in with open arms. And I guess they're just at all the conferences and everything. I felt like I was just so accepted and an integral part of like making everything happen with getting the speakers and helping organize, and you know, did it for so many years until I somehow ended up in this position. So yeah.
Well, but you just don't end up with
End up
position.
in a
It's not like, yeah, got an email. I am now the commercial chair.
Well,
So who was it? Was it Kurt? Was it Naveen? I mean, who was it that kind of like, hey, we need you to be our commercial chair?
I think both of them really. I always say
They
they're
ganged up
like,
on you? Okay.
yeah. My older brother's in Phoenix, so it was really both of them that that pushed me to really step outside and like become more of a leader and to do it, because I do a lot of stuff. You know, as we were saying before we started this, behind the scenes, I'm not great at being on in the limelight. It's something that I kind of push myself to do. So
Oh, but you're great.
that's what. Thank you.
Well, you
Thank
are in the
Yeah.
limelight,
Appreciate
and
it.
you
I
have an
know.
official show, you know, on the Aria,
Thank
you know,
you.
YouTube page. We are kind of bootleg here, you know.
On the
Come on.
kick.
We're kind of the under the radar
Oh,
unofficial show.
you guys are
Flying
the
low.
show, right? You don't have to keep it all buttoned up in corporate. So.
Mm,
Oh,
well, okay.
So yeah,
So,
we have
but who was it?
Aria.
We need to
Yep.
name names here in Escrow.
Oh, I,
And we need
I,
to
I
be a
think
little
I heard
detailed. So who
Donnie,
was it? Was it
Raj.
Naveen and Kurt that said, all right, you're going to be, because you had to be the vice chair for commercial first, right?
I was vice chair last
Okay.
year.
So who was that then? Tom, or was that who was it that got you?
The vice chair. I
Yeah.
really feel like it was both of them. I mean, I
Okay.
can't. It was both of them together.
Okay.
So,
Well, we thank you very much for getting Ritu to step up. And of course, usually when you are because you are a voting member of the delegate board. And
yes.
so when you get to that point, you're like, should I go back and be president of a chapter, or should you be, what do you think, Narhee? ARIA National Chair 2024? Sound pretty good?
Wow, yeah.
That sounds pretty good.
That sounds pretty good.
I'm lost.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Just be a secretary or treasurer first, and then make the correct steps. So well, it can lead to greatness. So let's just put it that way. So
Okay.
we thank
Tag team. You never know what hits you. That's how it works.
I think your microphone fell into your hair again. So
Oh, it did. Can
Oh,
you
there-
hear me?
oh, much better,
Okay,
much better.
Hang on. There we go.
Anyway, all right.
So on this show, we always have these crazy stories.
Yeah.
Crazy
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
Crazy stories. And
Yeah.
if people who have subscribed and who have watched our shows know that there are very a lot and crazy stories on this show. So Ritu's going to share one with us, I believe.
Okay.
Pick the craziest one. I know you have many.
Well, there are many in the commercial real estate world. So
yes.
I had a buyer from down here in Miami, from Brazil actually, and they had seen this hotel that I'd shown them. It's actually out in California, and going back and forth with the managing director, and we went back and forth. They agreed on a price. The sellers were Chinese from China, stationed in China. And I guess one of the daughters had come to meet with my buyer. So they're meeting, they agree on everything. They have the translators, they send the contract, they go back and forth. We're translating it out of Mandarin, everything. My buyer signs it. They come back, they make all these changes on it. We go back and forth. They're all in agreement. And then he changes the price, the seller, $7 million after everything, $10,000 have been spent on the attorney. Okay, so we're not interested anymore. We're done. A few months later, seller calls back. Oh, well, if you wanted it at the original price, we're willing to give it to you at the original price. The buyer's like, well, now with all the new tariffs on China that Trump imposed, the cost of renovations has gone way up. So we're now offering you $4 million less than the overall price. Do you agree? Okay, fine. You drive a hard bargain. We agree. So they go back and forth, the contract, everything. And yet again, we go through this. My buyer signs, send the contract back. Guess what? He crosses it out and changes the price. And he's like, okay, we're done with these sellers. They're crazy. Fast forward to COVID.
Oh my goodness.
Seller comes back and he sends the contract, and the buyer says, look, you're going to have to sign it first this time because I don't want to, go through this. So he sends a signed contract with a price that's higher during the peak of COVID. We're talking May of this year or 2020. We're already 2021.
Yeah.
Higher price, signed contract. And I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, is he crazy? We think he's crazy.
Probably.
So, anyway, that's my insane story. So these commercial
the deal close? Where did it go?
No, it's still available.
Still going.
Off market, yeah.
Okay,
Hotel,
we'll keep tuned. I mean,
yeah.
That is just craziness, right? I mean, they redline everything. I saw a cartoon someone just shared and said, there was a cartoon. There was a agent showing a buyer a property, and he goes, "Can we see something a little higher price, just like this?" And guy goes, "Oh, no worries. We'll just show it to you tomorrow." It's like, but I've had deals in LA where a deal just went in, to escrow, and the EMD never showed up. It just went on forever, going nowhere. Then suddenly, a list pendants hit it, dragged it out for 3 years. And, you know, think about it. The prices almost doubled in the area for that development.
Right.
But he had it tied up for the lower price. Oh, how convenient. Paid a few attorneys, paid a few penalties, got an amazing deal. You know, some people kind of operate like that. It just is unfortunate. But well, we expect a progress report, Ritu, but
okay. Well,
that
let's see what happens.
is
But,
a little crazy.
2 years. 2 years.
Wow, that is
Over 10 grand in
amazing.
attorney's fees. Yep.
Well,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, we've had deals in commercial where, you know, just a tiny little lease goes out for, you know, attorney review, spend 10 grand, and the buyer says, or the, you know, lessee says, oh, we changed our mind. I'm like, oh, God. And it's not that they get hurt. It's like, you know, us as agents look ridiculous because the next time we, you know, bring in an LOI to the same agent, they're like, oh no, here we go again. Like, no,
like, this one's crazy. It's not me, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. All right. Well, thank you for
sharing that story of back and forth. That's what we're gonna name it. Back and forth.
Back and forth. Okay.
Yeah.
You
coined it.
Yay.
Yeah.
All
right, looking good.
I see screen sharing. Here's where I'm gonna hide now.
No, this is where you're gonna shine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Notice the new slide that we got rid of the old one, Narhee.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, there is Ritu, the commercial chair. Thank you for sharing the commercial real estate experiences. And of course, she does have her own official Aria commercial coffee series. Do any of your guests actually drink coffee, or is that just kind of a...
I've been drinking coffee. Of course, everyone drinks coffee. Actually, I drink tea. I don't drink coffee.
See?
Drink matcha tea. But commercial tea does not sound like, you know, join me for the commercial tea with the queen, you know. No, it's commercial coffee.
That. Let's start a show. Commercial tea with the queen. There you go.
Ooh, Queen Ritu.
Well, look at all those titles, and I couldn't even fit them all here. You know, there's all kinds of stuff.
Well, yeah.
And you are the Fibonacci president-elect of Miami. I'm sorry, it's FIOPSI.
FIOPSI.
I was gonna say
complicated.
I am. I couldn't do it this year because I'm Aria commercial chair.
That's right. Your priorities are
Aria.
Well founded. All right. Well.
Yes.
We wanted to share the top 5 list of why Florida. Now, that is pretty vague, but we're going to kind of get it a little because as in the political climate, right, Florida is a very good example of basically a mini version of the U.S., right? I mean, there's so many different diverse areas of Florida.
Yes, there are.
All right.
Okay. Well, you know, we can make it like Central and Southern Florida if you
like. No. We got Florida, the whole thing. You're Miss Florida. All right. All right. So here we go. We are number 1, and then this is what threw me for a loop. I'm looking at this thing going, man, she can't even spell. And then I'm like, wait a minute. That's not I thought experimental living. I'm like, what are you doing? So explain. I can't even say this. Experiential. What is
experiential living?
All right. What is that?
Okay. So there's all this stuff about experiential vacationing. People don't want things anymore. You know, they want experiences.
Florida I want things.
Is well.
Oh, all right. Anyways.
Not
Come on, Charles.
Florida's full of things to do, so you get to experience life. We've got beaches, we've got Disney, we've got Key West. It's endless stuff that you can do down here. We live where other people vacation, so you know,
all in 100% humidity, I might add.
Okay, wait, I'm going to get to that.
Okay. She is going to get to that.
There are some good things about that humidity.
Okay.
Yeah, good perks. Yep.
Great weather.
There you go. Weather.
Okay. So not only are there a lot of things to do, but there's good weather year round, so you can actually get outside and do them. You're not sitting there freezing all the time like my friends in other places. And I have lived in New York. I've lived in Boston. I've lived in Austin, Texas. I've lived in Los Angeles. I've lived in San Francisco.
Wow.
And here. So I can say the weather is the best here.
Really?
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh man.
I like it. I
did not.
I'm sweaty just
Cali
thinking
had
about it.
Great weather.
Well, I must admit though, whenever I
Yeah.
see, I'm looking at my weather kind of thing on my phone, and even when LA is, I mean, it's considered cold here when it gets into the 60s, but even when that happens, I always look at Miami. I'm like, it's 80 still there, so
Yeah, it's nice.
it is amazing. And even Donnie, when he comes out and visits, I kind of apologize sometimes when it's a little warm in LA. He's like, well, I'm kind of used to this. I kind of prefer it a little warmer. And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess you do get used to it. All right. Well, real estate, obviously, but
Yeah, obviously.
what is it about real estate in
Okay.
Florida that is, so
Amazing.
special?
Okay. So I know that the real estate has gone up a lot here since COVID.
Yeah.
However, or at least in South Florida, it is still affordable. I used to live in New York. I used to live in LA. I used to live in San Francisco.
Yeah.
You can still live here and you can live a very nice life because a lot of the stuff is new and it's still, maybe you're not living in exactly downtown Miami, but if you live 15 minutes away, not 3 hours away, you can still get a really nice place to live. So I say on the residential side, it's great. Plus we've got all the New Yorkers now, some of the Californians, but more New Yorkers and people from Michigan, a little bit of DC coming down here and doing their commercial investments here because we have no tax, and then they get their second homes and they spend like 6 months and 1 day down here on paper to say that they live here so they don't have to pay income tax. But it's great for commercial real estate. It's great for residential real estate, have to say.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to pin you down as a bona fide CPA, but as far as I know there's no state income tax in Florida, right?
Correct.
And so if a Californian owns real estate property income property in Florida, what does that mean? I'm not paying income tax on that property.
Oh boy. Okay. So I'm not a CPA.
All right. That'll be another show then.
Okay.
We'll figure out. But I do know a lot of sports celebrities in America that officially live in America like to choose Florida because there is no state income tax.
You have to be a resident here. So that's 6 months and
makes
1
sense.
day.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
And the food.
The food.
Ooh,
the food down
what do we
here
have?
is really, really good. Now I'll say, I think a lot of it, at least in South Florida, is because we've got so many New Yorkers with their refined palates coming down here and they want the best of the best. But we've got, tons and tons of good restaurants here. And
yeah, I think Smita and Morel in Chicago would probably want to challenge you to that.
Well, you don't have to wait months and months for reservations.
Good point.
We do have branches of a lot of the top restaurants in New York. They'll have 2 or 3 locations, and one of them is down here in Florida. So Vegas, New York, Florida, stuff like that, or LA, New York, Florida.
And is it just pretty much a big variety? Is it? It's not just jambalaya everywhere, right? I mean,
no. I mean, there's a lot of variety in the food. I mean, the further south you get great Cuban food, of course, in Miami. But I feel like there's a really good mix of food here. The only thing that I will say we're lacking, at least in South Florida, is really good Chinese food. I mean,
so no Panda Express there?
Yeah, they have Panda Express.
Hey, what's wrong with Panda Express?
Not like good food. But we've got a small Chinatown district here.
Really? In Miami?
Cool.
In Miami, it's growing. Yes.
Oh wow! I remember when Jesse and Donnie and you guys had that big Miami, GLS, and I remember going on the boat harbor tour, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here is like about 75 to 100 Asian folks, going to the harbor cruise. And I mean, it was just like we were the only Asians around, and people are just looking, going, "That's kind of funny."
Where'd they come from?
California. And I always share this once in a while.
On a boat.
And then I'll never forget the Uber ride from the airport. And I shared, I think, an Uber with Amy Lee, who was the mortgage a few years ago. And so we get in the Uber and we're just, got off the plane, fairly long flight from the West Coast. And Amy started talking, and seems like most of the Uber drivers are of Cuban descent.
Yes.
So as soon as Amy starts talking, the guy turns around and goes, "Wow, your English is really good." And we just Amy, of course, has no accent, speaks perfect English, even though she is, completely Asian looking. So the whole weekend, it was like every time Amy spoke something, like, "God, Amy, your English is so good."
Really good.
But, they just weren't used to that kind of crowd.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. What do we got here? Oh, here we go.
And
There's
that's the
humidity.
perks.
I'm telling you, your skin will never look better.
Is
There's
that
no
why you
dryness.
have perfect skin, Ritu?
There's no dryness. There's no dryness here.
I mean, but what about if you have
breathe in.
naturally curly hair and you straighten it when you go to Florida?
Okay,
Just
does that say the humidity is great for your hair? No, it says the humidity is great for your skin, and it got cut off by the ground in my picture. It says the humidity is great for you can't even see it. So
Oh, I see.
it didn't say hair, it said skin. That's
That's
number
right.
one.
I'm sorry. Yeah, pray
See?
for your skin. Okay. Sorry about that. I was going to correct
That's
that, but I
okay.
got a little
That's
distracted.
okay.
Yeah,
So
for your
no,
S.
it's not good for your hair.
Okay. All right.
That would be on my top 5 worst lists.
That right.
Next
Well,
show.
I mean, Florida is always, I wish I was there, more often than not, but, definitely need to get out into the great southeast, including Florida. And we've got,
Anytime.
it's another
Narhee,
it's another
Charles,
state
you
with a
guys
lot of
need to come
multiple
down
ARIA
here.
chapters, right? What do we
Yep.
have? We have a Miami chapter, we have Tampa, we have Jacksonville.
Correct.
So a multiple chapter
Orlando.
state.
Orlando.
Of course.
Yep.
Right. So are you going to, how involved are you with the current Miami chapter at this point?
I still am on the Miami board.
Awesome.
So I'm not allowed to leave, I've been told.
Oh, right. Yeah.
There's too much going on.
Nice.
And it's good. Like our Miami chapter is strong.
Right.
We've got a lot of national leaders on our Miami chapter. So
Yeah. All right. Well,
Wow.
Miami, I mean, the top 5 list of why Florida, but if there was a top 5 list of why Miami, I believe the next slide here will be appropriate because are you ready, Ritu? We're going to visit basically the top Miami hotspots as visited by Ritu Rani.
Woohoo.
You don't seem so
Okay.
excited, Ritu. Come on.
Yeah, because I'm looking at myself. I'm like, that was when I was like much younger and thinner.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. That's
you haven't changed.
That's right. Top club and hotspots. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm sure you remember most of them. So.
That's if she wasn't drinking.
Where all of them,
Yeah,
all of them
that's
are?
right.
Okay,
Are you ready?
I'll tell you.
Here we go. And no, we are not going to talk about that. We were just joking.
Okay.
But I was kind of intrigued that when I asked you earlier, are you a are you a hotel specialist? You said, no, you're multifamily. And I told you I don't know anything about multifamily development projects, only what I learned on Wiki, of course.
Yeah.
And I know you said maybe it would be boring, but hey, we want to be educational. We can turn it into fun facts, although they're probably not super fun. But hey, it should be good to find out about them. So I kind of made up some stuff. I don't even know if I'm correct, but you're the expert, so you'll help me out, right, Ritu?
Okay.
Here we go.
Us.
Number 1, is it shovel ready? What the heck does that mean? I mean,
is it shovel ready?
Are we going to dig something or what?
Basically, what people are asking is if the land is ready for development, or do you need to get it approved for development? So that's what shovel ready means.
Right. So everything's approved, the entitlements, permitting. I mean, it's just ready to go, literally getting ready to do the shovel. And that entitlement process and the permitting, that could take years, right?
Yes, it can take a very long time depending on, which government officials you're dealing with and if you need it changed, zoning, all of that.
Right. All right. The next thing is not everyone could do these all cash. So there is a lot
No
of,
one does
and
them all
even,
cash.
right. And even if you, what's that?
No one does it. It's very,
Right,
it's
right,
very
exactly.
uncommon to do
And
stuff.
even if you could, you want to, you know, take the advantage of leverage anyway, right?
Mhm.
So in development loans, we have buzzwords like LTC and of course the budgeting, but you know, in many residential loans and even in commercial, you know, investor loans, you know, they talk about LTV, loan to value, but of course in the development loan, it's all about LTC or loan to cost, of course. And so, you know, and usually from what I understand, they take an entire budget of the project, including everything,
Yes.
you know, even GC profit, if it's allowable, you know, anything involved in the development process, less, you know, your equity, or that's part of it. And then they figure out how much you got to come up with. And it's kind of like a down payment or an implied equity.
Correct.
And I know some of these guys were going up to 80, maybe even higher than 80% LTC. But let's say you had a budget of $20 million. That included everything, carrying costs, construction, whatever. And so generally you would need to come up with 20% of that, you know, in some sort of equity, whether the land was worth that much or, you know, cash out of your pocket. So something
Seems
like
like you
that.
know your fun facts, Charles.
Yes.
No, I went to Wikipedia because Wikipedia is always correct.
Okay, I
And
see
actually
you did a lot of learning.
And it said
I
authored by
know.
Ritu Rani. So I was.
Oh, please. Well,
Yeah.
I do mostly hospitality. So I think, you know, it's like maybe you misunderstood. So it's hospitality, multifamily, and development stuff.
That's okay.
So.
It's
Oh,
all
wow.
about the same, you know, you just kind of
Oh,
change it up a
well,
little bit in the middle. Don't worry about it.
Hospitality
You know.
is by far and away the most complex.
Yeah,
So
it is. And I've seen to where they tried to convert an office building, for example, halfway into a multifamily hotel. And they didn't realize how much plumbing there is to have to redo because you got to plumb it in everything.
yes.
All right.
Yes.
So how long does it take? Can I get this thing done in 6 months, Ritu?
A development project?
And that would be a hell no. Okay.
No way. It depends on how big.
Maybe I could get it done in a year, squeeze it in, pay some people.
Unlikely.
Yeah.
Unlikely. I think 18 to 30 months is like on a really good day.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or more, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Now, typically multifamily, if it's shovel ready, you could get it done by then. But if you're talking about hospitality, a lot of, you know, widgets and, you know, governmental entities involved and stuff, that could be very different.
Well, the thing with hospitality is that there's so many companies involved in a hospitality project. There's
right. Yeah. You may have a lot of retail component, almost kind of like a mixed use kind of setup, right?
It is a lot of stuff.
Right.
So.
And, you know, in the West Coast, and I don't know about the East Coast, there was a tremendous amount of EB5 partially funded development projects in hospitality and also multifamily too. So.
Well, more hospitality, because with the EB5 rules, you need to create a certain number of jobs. Right. And that's where you can create the jobs to build and stay on.
Yeah, there was like, I can't remember the number, but you had to have a certain amount of unemployment to qualify for the lower amount. And then, Wikipedia is an amazing, you know, resource for all that information, I'm telling you.
Charles Wiki.
Yeah. No.
Swanberg.
So IR is a term that I think most resi-commercial folks just aren't familiar with. But if you've ever done a development loan, it is a obviously critical component. And I don't think, you know, talking to people and folks, when you get a traditional construction loan, Ritu, and there is a calculated interest reserve, is what IR means. What are my monthly payments during the project when it's going?
Well, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Like, what are the monthly payments on the interest reserve when I have a, you know, like say a bank funded project?
I honestly don't know.
Oh, no, you know, it's none because it's built into the budget, right? So there is no out-of-pocket costs as far as the loan goes. It's not like you're having to make a payment during the construction process because guess what? It's built into the budget. So, you know, that's the beauty of that type of lending. So,
You've turned this into the finance show.
Well, you know what,
The
though,
funding.
these developments, once you get it figured out, it's all about getting it, funded, right, and doing it. So it's obviously important. And of course, you got the fund control. There's like holdbacks and stuff that you have to be kind of careful about. But there's a lot of different pieces, especially in whether it's multifamily or retail developments and things that are just crazy that people don't realize how important it is to, when you maybe come across a project like this, to call Ritu or people that know what they're doing instead of trying to figure it out yourself, right?
Well, I mean, I will tell you, we have a lot of partners that we work with for the funding side that
Right.
help, because in any commercial project,
Right.
whether it be development or anything, it's like how much money can you leverage? Otherwise, if you don't have the money, you can't buy the asset. So
Right.
all about that.
And a lot of people ask, well, how do I qualify? I mean, is it a traditional qualifying process? And I mean, in your experience and in mine, traditionally, if you've got say, let's just do round figures and on sizes that Ritu's used to, let's say $100 million project. You typically need a net worth tangible net worth of at least 2 to 3 times that for a traditional bank to even think about it. So you got to be worth about $300 million. If you're working on a $10 million project, you need to show some sort of net worth about 20 to 30. And that's fairly standard. And I would say if you even want a non-recourse option, probably even more, who knows?
Well, when you're talking about big numbers like that, it's usually funds that are buying. It's usually not individuals at that point.
Which usually means they have tons of stuff. Hopefully that they don't have, too many contingent liabilities to actually turn that number, back upside down. So,
right.
Well, I hope we tried to make this fun. Maybe I needed to put a little more cartoon characters in this thing to make it more interesting, but and then of course the GC, very important in any project, right?
The GC, the architect,
that whole team, right?
The whole team, exactly.
Yeah. And that's what makes it complicated. It's not just one, it's not just about the financing, and it's not just about the architect. And I mean, there's liaisons and government officials and stuff. It could get really, really hairy. All right. Well, and then of course at the end, after the project is done, is the fund going to keep it? Are they going to dispose of it?
Well, Charles, usually people have a plan before they go in. They have their 5-year strategy. Are they long-term hold? Are they just builders and then they get rid of their project? They know.
Right.
People who are investing that much money know.
What's really interesting, though, and especially in parts of Los Angeles where there were developments going on initially to either go to condo or even TIC, is that in some cases in the middle of the project, they had said, you know what, these rents are crazy sky high.
Yes.
Maybe we'll just keep them and rent them. And that's kind of sometimes what had happened, due to the housing crisis and shortage.
Well, I mean, of course, circumstances change, and you have to be able to be nimble and change. But going into it, you should have a vision of what's going to happen.
Right. In other words, if you're running and controlling $100 million to $300 million project, you better know what you're doing.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, Ritu, thank you for that info. It's just so complicated. And we're going to obviously have to log on and hop on your show to watch some more interesting things and learn more about it. So.
About the commercial coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
I watched the last one and it was so interesting. I was hoping it would go longer, but
well, it's
good
30
info.
minutes. It's a lot of work.
The tea only lasts so long.
The coffee.
Hey, so Ritu, upcoming, we're going to have some of your colleagues coming on. Let's see, recognize any of those faces?
I see Garrick.
There you go. And that's Jordan Lee next to him, who's going to be on our show next. Yeah, he's actually from Oregon, from the Greater Portland chapter. And of course, you know who that is.
I do, but her name is
Oh,
escaping
you do?
me.
Okay.
Yes, yes. You introduced her on the last one with Garrick.
Oh, wow. Wow. You watched the show.
I watched your show. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then even a newer face on the scene is the incoming president from LA Coastal. So that, it's Jordan Lee, Tina Lombard, who's the incoming, or she's the 21 president for the Greater Denver chapter. Basically, taking on what the craziness that Dylan started. And then, of course, Cindy Tran, who is going to be leading the area called LA Coastal in the Los Angeles area, is going to be our guest. So, yeah. By the way, Ritu, I know you mentioned you don't like to watch yourself on camera, but we would really appreciate that if you do. After the show, when we upload it on YouTube, to go on our page and subscribe, hit like, comment, and watch your show at least 10 or 15 times.
Okay.
We're trying to get as much people to subscribe to the show so we can both retire. All right.
Well.
And then tomorrow, ARIA folks, is the Leadership Summit. That's where I really got to know Ritu a lot more.
Last year.
Of course, I remember, I'll never forget when you were doing the commercial session, you had an issue with just being able to speak, but did it get a little better at the end? Were you able to get out of
No, I had laryngitis, and it was on how to grow your membership is what you guys pulled me in to moderate. So, yes.
Who was on with you? You remember?
It was Lyman.
Okay, Lyman Chow, yeah.
And Amy, I think it was Amy from Chicago.
Oh, okay, Amy Duong, yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
and New York. Oh, God, you're putting my old brain.
New York. Oh, I think it was, I think I know.
Greg Christensen.
Yeah, Greg Christensen, yeah.
Yes.
Boy, well, he probably did all the talking for you.
Yeah.
Good old Greg, man. You could talk the talk.
He's got a good loud voice, but that was really good.
Yeah.
So,
well, anyway, it's going to be virtual, and for most of you could just sit back and watch, but it's going to be amazing, and there's going to be a lot of interaction, and there's going to be like even a karaoke show that I expect you to be singing at Ritu afterwards.
Okay, well, I have a voice this year, so.
Oh, there you go.
Okay,
yeah. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We have over 450 registrants, I believe. And so, when we were there in person last year, we had 200, and we thought that was a lot. So
we'll have even
we're
more.
looking forward to it. Well, hey, I just want to thank you so much, Ritu, for joining us here in Escrow Tuesdays. I found a fun little picture during that,
Yeah,
that was taken 1 year ago exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to make a little push for more membership stuff if I can, ARIA.
Of
So we're doing
course.
an ARIA commercial scholarship for CCIM.
Ooh.
It's a $1,500 scholarship, and National will be pushing out the application hopefully this week. I know they're really inundated with leadership and getting that all together.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in learning more about commercial, I highly recommend applying for the scholarship. And if you know people who are interested in learning more about that, it's supposed to be a membership driver. So you need to be an ARIA member to apply for the scholarship.
Right. And that'll pay for about half the class, right? That'd be pretty
No, it's $1,500. It will pay for a whole class, or possibly more than one class, depending on what you choose to take. So really want to encourage everyone, and that was generously donated by Neil Sherman from Sperry. And Narhee, you would ask me what company I work for. So
yes, I was so curious.
And then Charles was asking me another question. So I'm working at a small commercial brokerage right now, and in the process of opening up my Sperry office, and that is somewhat official, but it's not official by the DBPR yet. So it's official within Sperry, and that just happened. So
wow, congrats.
And we're going to be doing a lot more with the capital markets team, Sam Suzuki. So,
Hey, Sam moved to Dallas. What's up with that?
Yeah, well, you're going to have him on your show to find out more. But
no, we had him. He was on. It was so funny because him and Raj was on this commercial show, right? I think it was Fiopsi.
Yeah, they
I
do
kind
the
of
FIOPSI
I went on
commercial.
there and I said, hey, why doesn't the commercial broker call the residential broker back?
Yes.
And they were just cracking up. So Sam was just busting him. You can stop laughing, and neither could Raj and the speaker. But that's for a different show. Well, anyway, Ritu, thank you so much. Anything else to plug?
Thank
What
you.
else?
No, those are the only two things.
All right.
But I want to thank you both, Narhee and Charles, for having me and for sitting on the other side, getting questions.
Well, we were tame. We
So-
didn't want to really put you on the spot. We have for others, but we wanted to be a little kind.
Yeah, you did
Okay.
marvelous.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
An
you.
awesome show.
Well, thank you very much for joining episode 23 of Escrow Tuesdays, Ari. And
Yay.
if you have any deals of any complexity, like commercial deals, please send them over to Ritu, especially when it's down, in that sunny area of the United States in Florida.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you have any escrows or anything related to that in Southern California, please send them down to Narhee and Nguyen. And if you have any questions on Los Angeles area real estate, consider giving me a ring. So anyway, don't forget to join the Leadership Summit tomorrow. It's not too late to sign up. Just do it and jump on, enjoy, and learn. And thank you again, Ritu, for joining us on Escrow Tuesdays. And we'll see you next week when we have Jordan Lee from the Portland, Oregon.
Oregon.
All right.
Mhm.
All right, everybody. Take care.
Bye.